Nothing breaks our collective hearts like a beautiful PC title with some fairly heavy system requirements. We know, you don't need the latest hardware to run a game. However, when you consider the graphics options that PCs enable and how much better they can potentially look, the recommended system requirements cuts all the deeper. Of course, there are also games which require more than your average setup to even run. Let's take a look at 5 of the most hardware-intensive games heading to PC this year. Quantum Break. One of the bigger Windows 10 releases thus far, Remedy's third-person shooter turned its share of heads with the initial system requirements: an Intel Core i7-4790, 4GHz or AMD equivalent, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 980 Ti, or an AMD Radeon R9 Fury X, 6GB VRAM, and 16GB of RAM for recommended requirements? Yeah, that's kind of hefty. Remedy would later clarify that these specifications were for ultra settings. The recommended requirements, while still reasonable with an Intel Core i5-4690, 3.9GHz or AMD equivalent, are still pretty steep with an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 or AMD Radeon R9 390, 4GB VRAM, and 16GB RAM required. Total War Warhammer. You wouldn't guess it, but real-time strategy games are actually some of the biggest system hogs out there. Case in point is Total War Warhammer. Running the game at Ultra with 60 FPS requires an Intel Core i7-4790K running at 4GHz with 8GB of RAM and either an AMD Fury X or an NVIDIA GTX 980. That's not quite Quantum Break level heavy, but it's no slouch either. At least the recommended requirements are a little gentler with an Intel Core i5-4570 running at 3.2GHz, 8GB RAM, and an AMD R9 270X or NVIDIA GeForce GTX 760 with 2GB video memory required for high settings and up to 55 frames per second. Tom Clancy's The Division. Ubisoft's MMORPG third-person shooter is one of those games that offers a wide degree of graphical options. That being said, if you want to run the game at high settings and 60 FPS, you'll need some serious hardware. An Intel Core i7-3770, AMD FX 8350 or better, 8GB of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970, or an AMD Radeon R9 290 or better will be needed to fully experience the Division's world in all of its destroyed beauty. Don't even get us started on the issues that AMD users and SLI users are currently facing with the game.
Thankfully, those who want to experience the game without all the graphical bells and whistles can do so. All they require is an Intel Core i5-2400 or AMD FX 6100 or better, 6GB of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 560 or AMD Radeon HD 7770 with 2GB of video memory. Doom. Though id Software hasn't confirmed the official PC requirements for the final version of the game, the closed alpha that took place in October 2015 offers a few clues. Minimum requirements include an Intel Core i5 at 3.3GHz or an AMD FX 8350 at 4GHz, 8GB of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 660, AMD Radeon HD 7870 with 2GB of video memory are also required. For the recommended specifications, you're looking at an Intel Core i7 at 3.4GHz or an AMD FX 8350 at 4GHz with 8GB of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780 or AMD Radeon R9 280 with 3GB or more of video memory.
Hitman. Of all the hardware-intensive games on this list, IO Interactive's Hitman seems the most tame of the bunch. Its minimum requirements included an Intel Core i5-2500K at 3.3GHz or an AMD Phenom 2 X4940, 8GB RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 660 or AMD Radeon HD 7870. The recommended requirements are still kind of heavy though, with an Intel Core i7-3770 3.4GHz, AMD FX 8350 running at 4GHz with 8GB RAM, and an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 770 or AMD Radeon R9 290 required. Oh well, at least the game returns to the expansive sandbox settings of old. That has to be some kind of positive. Which of these hardware-intensive games are you looking forward to the most this year? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.